Hey everyone, welcome back, and THQ Nordic posted 9 brand new screenshots for the game on their personal media website called media.thqnordic.com. So I'll post a link in the description so you can go take a look for yourself, and myself and C&B Extra will be taking a look at these. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Okay, so first image that we have is the new SpongeBob Dream sequence. They're clearly going with a very different style to what they originally had with the the base game. There's no longer that patterned sky type of look, which, while it's a bit sad to not have that, because it felt in a lot of ways very SpongeBob, having this this crazy pattern, bright colors, all that type of stuff, and it was like this dome around you type of thing, and I really liked that. But also it was kind of a bit messy, and I think it made that platforming stuff an extra bit harder because there was this kind of difficulty seeing the platforms from the background. I remember that being a bit of a thing. So while I feel like it's lost a bit of its identity by taking that away, I think it will be a much nicer looking level as a result of that. But it does feel like you're losing a little bit of that early SpongeBob identity. But once again, they are going for the newer SpongeBob type of stuff. Interesting shadows on the pineapple is one thing though, because you've got the very strong shadow with the giant SpongeBob above him, where it has the shadow on the back, but the face is quite dark, which kind of looks a bit because the shadow doesn't look as dark as I feel like it should be. But it's still got that very improved lighting and obviously those shaders going on. But then the house doesn't seem to have any shadow casted on it from the SpongeBob. Maybe the SpongeBob's further away than it looks in the image, but it feels like the shadow should be coming down to the house. But once again, it's hard to judge the perspective based on the distance that we're having here. So
for the second image, we obviously have the final boss fight, and with this, there's not really anything brand new that we haven't seen so far. I think obviously this looks to be a further build, as the lighting looks further improved, as in previous builds the entire back wall looked as if it was completely black, as if like a massive shadow had just cast over it. But with this, there are a lot of visual improvements, I must admit that. The fire looks good in my opinion. A little detail that I like is that both the rockets on the undercarriage of the robot, they are sort of odd, so it looks like it was shoddily put together. So it's nice they've sort of added that, so it's not a work of art, it's something that's been rushed, it's more genuine. That is perfect. And then you've got the particle effects sort of more to the right, but then on the left hand side there's next to none. So I don't know what that is. It's an inconsistency with this level, unless it's intentional, because to the right, sort of near the exit to the building, there is a lot of particle effects in the air, whereas to the left, near all the platforms, there is literally nothing. You can't see any of them whatsoever. But apart from that, the second screenshot looks absolutely fantastic.
Okay, so this is, I remember, I think around Christmas or something, I talked about the image that we got of this, which was the a hand-drawn one, which I mistook for a gameplay one. But man, it looks very similar to the hand-drawn one. I really like that. Once again, the lighting is just taking it to that next level. You're also getting, I think you're getting particles, like particles in the water. That's really cool. And you also have the water effects above. Once again, the same kind of issue I have with some of the character models, like Sandy's face looks very less expressive than I feel like it should. Once again, my memory of the base game is a little waning at this point, but other than that, like it looks pretty insane. The mountains could use a bit more lighting and harsher lighting on them, but yeah, just I'm only focused on the house, and the house looks really good.
Okay, so this is the fourth image so far, and obviously it's in the back end of Kelp Forest, and from what we've got so far, like the lighting is absolutely fantastic. When I was a little kid, I used to love those little flower plants that you can see on the right and the left, and I feel like that they have copied that so well. And if we take a look just at the back of it, obviously you have the stone tiki plates where you chuck the actual tikis onto, and those look really detailed, they look fabulous. The lighting is probably the best thing about this level so far, because obviously in the original, from my experience, it was very dark, it was hard to navigate. But apart from that, there's not really a whole bunch to say about this, because we've seen screenshots on this level already, but everything looks to be in order, everything looks how my childish, how my childish mind would have seen it. Purple Lamp have done a fantastic job on envisioning their own version of Kelp Forest, so hats off to them with this.
We'll go into the Spongeball one. Spongeball 1. So I've seen a little bit of the trailer for the Bikini Bottom stage, and the Spongeball stuff all definitely does look good. Not too keen on Mrs. Puff's model. There's something wrong there. I feel like there's something wrong. There's something I don't. It doesn't matter. Once again, is lacking. I think it is that harshness of light that you got with the SpongeBob boss battle, which made that look so good. When you go, they lean more into the SpongeBob art style of it, which looks good. But when in comparison to the boss battle, I feel like they just need to go harsher with those shadows and with the lighting to really give it that oomph. Some of the textures also look a little meh, like the ground doesn't look that great. But I like this style. It's just also in contrast to some of the previous ones where it's like, whoa. But for me, the Bikini Bottom stage was one of the blander looking stages, so maybe it's just a continuation of that.
Now this is the 6th image. It's late. Obviously it's Industrial Park. The first thing that catches my eye is these little mesh fences to the left hand side. I'm not sure if they were in the original, because I've got to be honest, to that part of the level I paid next to no attention to. Apart from sort of the foreground, in the background you have a lot of detail, like behind. If we go beyond, then there is that massive fence, and then you've got these buildings behind it that are actually detailed with lighting. So to the right you have one with functioning lights, and then sort of as you veer off to the left you have more dull and dusk buildings. And I feel like that it suits the style that this level is meant to be. And then you can sort of slightly see a foggy, like the clouds in the background, and I don't know what it is about this, but it is just so fantastic. The particles are a bit contrasting though, because these particles seem to be sort of a light bluish colour, so I'm not sure if they could be tinted sort of green to sort of give off that murky feel. But apart from that, the lighting's good, the models look great. There's not much I can add to that, because we've seen the level already, so Chester will take it away with the next one.
Oh, is this the Murmur lair? It is. Holy, is that in-game? The background, so with the little lights on the ground, that looks pretty insane. I'll bring it back to the foreground though. The Patrick model still it feels a little off for me, and maybe it's just because he's not as pink as I feel he should be, and I think it's just this rigidity to it. I'm not sure if that's a real word, but. And I think it's just the screenshots always capture them in a bad moment. But yeah, I'm not too keen on the Patrick model. The design and the way the light's hitting him in looks good. With like some harsher shadows on him. I'm just going around in circles with that. And also the kind of orb around the spatula does look good. I like the way the light's hitting it off the top. But the spatula itself is pretty meh. And the ground textures also are pretty meh as well. But I do like how you got almost like the paint on the wood is rubbing off and peeling off on the edges. I really like that. That's really cool. But the main thing is just that background with the slide and the different robots. That looks insane. The way I think it's just this game looks really good when it commits to that that more realistic, extreme shaders look, and it looks sensational. And I like the distance blur, as stuff gets more far away, gives it a good sense of scale. I like that. That's really cool.
Crikey, well this is the hub world one, obviously, and first thing that strikes me would be the absolutely massive moon behind the graveyard. And then if you look in that sort of similar area, you have the sign for the good old Krusty Krab. Then right on the actual sign itself, you have the golden underwear, and this time they're transparent. And I didn't think that would be something that they would change, but it's a very good change in my opinion. The text on the sign is 3D now, which is good. I kind of expected that anyways, because why not? And they did it with the jump bucket as well. So I didn't think they would be that inconsistent, so I thought, right, that's going to probably change as well. One thing that does worry me is that the text for the required spatulas, that faces you from a distance, and I don't think it should do that. and it just looks so, it's like it's staring you down. And I mean, with the tikis, it's sort of fine. I'm fine with that. But then with the 2D text, like, and 2D icons, just sort of looking right at you, it feels unnatural and it feels less immersive. Then to get back on track with some positive things, it's very vibrant. I want to say that the saturation is perfect. Then you have got some more tikis on top of the building, which weren't there before. Trying to think of other things, like to the very left there is now grass on the theatre, which was not there before, so that's a nice addition. Apart from that, my only issue is that the Krusty Krab looks a tad too big, because look how small Mr. Krabs looks. I mean, I'm not sure if it's just me, but I think there is a massive size difference, unless, like I just literally said, unless it's just my mind playing tricks. But apart from that, this level looks absolutely... Oh, the hub world looks absolutely amazing.
Oh, Dutchman's Graveyard. An actual proper look at it. Very interesting. So you definitely have that large green moon, which gives everything a really nice aura and lighting to it. That will be definitely a lot softer than what the other segments in the game would be. Surprised that the Dutchman isn't slightly opaque, slightly see-through a bull. But I do really like it. They've really managed to capture the art style of the show, even with these 3D models that are, upgraded so much. Once again, textures on the ground, and that like mountain bit below the ship and below all those bits of, I don't know, broken wood down there, and you have this mountain bit, looks very bland, like it looks very PlayStation 2. Mostly paying attention to the models, because that's what's important. I love the little dots through the sky and all that type of stuff. Really like that. Yeah, and then also you have stuff in the background over there. But interesting. It's nice to get a good look at the scene. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Back to Sheriff.
Just like to thank Chester for taking the time yet again to help me out with this, because it's great to get his opinions on it, because I'm sure, as some of you know, he does not beat around the bush. He is honest, even if it's brutal, and that is a great trait to have. So it was a pleasure to have him give his input, and a quick update for people who are interested in the whole music situation that I have tried to get bigger. That is, like the whole stereo music, that is not gonna happen. Like I've previously said, I have spoken to THQ Nordic, and it's just not on their radar. It seems that they are content with the upscaled mono music, so gonna have to put that to rest, unfortunately. But for those who stuck around, thank you, and I'll see you all later.